Unexpected events can set you back or set you up. It's all a matter of perspective. Mary Anne Radmacher. Welcome to the Stitch for Success podcast. I'm your host, Monica Allen. I'm a wife, mom, daughter, entrepreneur, friend, and lifelong learner. I have a love and passion for all things small business. If you are a budding entrepreneur thinking about starting your own business, or if you have been running your business for a few years, I want to help you. Every week, my goal is to bring you tips, thoughts, inspirations, and education to help you on your entrepreneurial journey. Thanks for joining me today. In today's episode, I'm bringing you the rest of my interview with Deidre Bembry from Deidre Bembry Insurance Agency. If you did not listen to the first part of our interview, please go back and check out episode 15. In that episode, Deidre told us all about her entrepreneurial journey. In this next portion, you may want to grab a tissue. Deidre opens up about what happens when the unexpected occurs in the middle of growing a new business. Having your agency already keeps you busy, but please tell us more about Keris Kares Incorporated and what led you to starting your nonprofit.
Thank you for asking that question. As we talked earlier, life is so unpredictable. And so when I opened in 2009, Keris was the 2-month-old in the picture. She was right there with my oldest, Denver. And as I said, I was always a mompreneur from day one. My kids started the business with me, and as well as my spouse. And so we were moving through this insurance journey, and I remember just thinking, we need a break. We have been pushing and pushing and pushing, and wow, when are we going to turn the corner? Because I was still within those first 5 to 6 years, which are still, it's getting better, but you haven't seen it kind of go to the full potential. And so Keris at the time was 4, and we noticed some changes in her behaviors. Myself, her teacher did as well. She was in pre-K at the time. And she told us one day, I just said, something's not right with her. I just had my 3rd daughter, and I knew I was distracted and my plate was running over, but that instinct said something is just not okay with my daughter. I don't know what it is, but it's something. And so we began to go see different doctors. We went to go see her pediatrician. I shared my concerns. Her pediatrician said that maybe she was developing some anxiety now because now she was the middle child and not getting enough attention and things of that nature. And that may well have been true, but I knew that wasn't what was going on with her. And so she was exhibiting signs to me of having a brain tumor just because her balance was off. And she, in fact, said to me, Mom, I feel like the bones are turning in the back of my head. I mean, can you imagine your 4-year-old coming to you and so clearly saying, this is what I'm feeling? And I thought, wow, the bones turning in the back of your head? We got to figure this out. And so I said, I feel like she has a tumor, but people have lived from tumors, and this is not the end. We just got to find a doctor to get this tumor out. And so I began to push our doctors to do a CT scan, which they wouldn't do. I began to push them to do an MRI, which we had to go through a lot of red tape just to get that. And so they were trying to do other things. And then finally, we noticed that her gait was off one day. It was the week of Thanksgiving, in fact, and her pre-K teacher called us and said, something is going on with Keris, and if it were my child, I would drive straight to Scottish Rite to see what is going on. And at that time, we had already gone through about maybe 5 weeks of the medical chase of the appointments and the follow-ups and still not being able to figure out what was going on. So I remember that day my husband and I drove straight to Scottish Rite in Atlanta. They took her in and immediately did a CT scan, and they saw the mass. They saw the mass right in the back of her head. And I felt really honestly a sigh of relief because I felt like we were getting closer to answers. And so the next day they prepared us for an MRI, and that's when things really shifted. I was sitting there all day with my family waiting on the results, and then I noticed the people that we were seeing started to shift, um, and things were shifting. I just didn't realize how much they had shifted. And later on in the day, the doctor came in, and I noticed on her white jacket, it said oncology. And I thought, wow, why are we talking to oncologists? And as it turns out, later that day, they told us that she had a rare form of brain cancer, diffuse intrinsic pontine glioma, DIPG. I had never even heard of those words prior to 2013, but they told us your daughter has about 6 months to live. We're going to have to start radiation immediately. We don't know how this happened. You didn't do anything. She didn't do anything. This is kind of like being struck by lightning. It just happens. It happens uh, to about 4% of children, and you're in that 4%. And so they kind of tried to console us, but as you can imagine, I mean, this was just like a bomb going off in our lives. And so we started a cancer journey unknowingly, unexpectedly in 2013, which was intense. And that cancer journey for us ended in July of 2015. And instead of 6 months, she made it 20 months. She really had a remarkable fight, but she did not beat her cancer. You know, she's no longer here. And so that was a big shift. It was a big shift for our family personally. It was a shift for me professionally. It was just a shift. And so during that season, we went through everything that you could imagine and trying to fight cancer and beat cancer. We exhausted financial resources. We did everything under the sun to give her longer in terms of time. And we knew that we just had to do more coming out of that. And so while she was still alive, we started Keris Kares in her honor. Keris, ironically, her name means love and charity. So I just always sit back and say, wow, God, this is really ironic. But now she has a nonprofit in her name that was created while she was still here that now helps other families dealing with the pediatric cancer diagnosis in her honor. So it's quite, even as I say it, it's still, I sit back and say, wow, did this really happen to us? And it absolutely did. But it was one of those things that forever changed the course of our lives and the purpose of our lives and the why.
And that is why I have so much admiration for you. Just knowing your story and your journey. I know it's tough being a business owner, but I cannot imagine losing a child. And I've always told you you're one of the strongest people I know, and I truly, truly believe that. Know that. It is so inspirational and beautiful that something so devastating has become such a beacon of light for so many families. I love that Keris has a legacy that will live on for years to come. If someone wants to support Keris Kares, how do they do that?
The easiest way to support us is to go to our website, which is keriskares.org, Keriskares.org. We love the K's. And they can really learn more about our mission. As you mentioned just a little while ago, our mission has really expanded over the years. We've been in existence since 2015, and we've just grown, and our reach is spreading across the United States. And we're just really proud of the work that we've been able to do on her behalf. And our carers, as we like to say, which is referencing the people that support us, our force of carers is growing, and it's allowing us to do more with what we're given. So it's a beautiful thing to see. It definitely helps give me peace and purpose.
I'm going to pop in here just to give an additional shout out to Keris Kares. There are so many organizations that focus on the cure for all types of cancer, and Keris Kares also provides some funding for research. However, in addition to that, what makes Keris Kares Incorporated unique is that it focuses on the financial needs of the families dealing with childhood cancer. It is so hard to imagine this happening to any one of us. But thinking about how you are going to feed the rest of your family or pay the light bill when all you can do is lay beside a child that is sick is unfathomable. Keris Kares Family Emergency Fund covers non-medical costs such as rent, mortgage payments, utility bills, car loans, and car insurance payments. This fund helps over 50 families per year. So again, if you would like to support this organization, please visit keriskares.org. There you can find out more about their annual Royal Runs and their annual gala coming up virtually this year in just a week or so. Again, that is Keriskares.org. Now back to the last couple of questions of our interview. So, Deidre, I have one more question for you before we go. And as you know, Zeus's Closet, well, this podcast is called Stitch for Success. And it's called Stitch for Success for a reason. As entrepreneurs, we're often battered and bruised through the process and in need of some stitches from time to time. But also, Zeus's Closet, we print and do all that good stuff, embroider shirts. And I know we've had the pleasure of printing shirts for your company and for your nonprofit, Keris Kares. How important do you think wearing logoed apparel has been to both of those entities?
It's paramount. Zeus's Closet has definitely been a great business partner for us on both sides, the nonprofit side. I know that's been a way for Zeus's Closet to give back and support nonprofits within the community. And then on the personal side, as it relates to my business, my for-profit business, branding is everything. I remember coming to you and saying, I need to brand myself. I need to brand insurance. I need people to think of the insurance lady when they think of making their insurance decisions. How do we go about putting that into something that's tangible? And those consultations with you really helped move my brand forward and my business forward in terms of really cementing that belief that people have got to see what you do. Whatever your brand is, you have got to push that brand to the limit. And people have got to connect who you are to what you do. And the way you go about doing that is oftentimes, a multi-pronged approach, but one of those strategies is definitely apparel. It's essential.
Yeah, and we've definitely enjoyed being a partner with you, with your company as well as with Keris Kares. And I love the insurance lady. I love that title. I love your logo, and I love the information that you provide, not just to your clients, but even if someone follows you on Instagram, just those things that you make people think about from a financial perspective and an investing perspective. I think it's just a wonderful thing because you're trying to help us all grow and be better with our money and with leaving a legacy. So I just think it's wonderful. Well, Deidre,
Thank
thank you
you.
so much for your time. Is there anything else you would like to add, or any advice you'd like to give to that person out there who may be that budding entrepreneur who's just not quite ready to leap yet? But any advice you'd like to give to that person?
I think one thing that I've found myself saying over the years is your best is still unwritten. And to me, that covers a multitude of things. When you think of just your life as a whole, you really want to envision your life as your own book. You are the author of your book. You can decide what type of book you have. Is it a mystery? Is it an adventure? Is there a plot twist? You can decide what happens, and your prior chapters really don't determine how your book is going to go moving forward, and it doesn't determine the ending. You're still in control. You can always decide to change, you can always decide to do something different. And I think that's true for entrepreneurs and just people in general who are sitting on the sideline of their life, not doing what they are called to do or fulfilling their purpose because they are just stuck beating themselves up over their past or their prior mistakes or their shortcomings. You know, there aren't really mistakes, they're just lessons. And when you embrace the fact that I'm learning and this was a lesson and a mistake isn't forever, it really gives you freedom to live your life and to change your life and to customize your life for you. So, those would be my last words. Your best is still unwritten because it's always a dot, 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 dot.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And don't you have something called Unwritten by Deidre?
I do. I do. It's my Instagram handle, and it is really my platform to tie everything that I'm passionate about, the learnings about risk management and protecting yourself and protecting your family, and just my life learnings of going through the lowest point in my life and still being able to come out of it and create something beautiful out of the ashes of cancer. You know, for me, I know my best is still unwritten. Even having gone through that, I know that there's still more for me to do, and I know my story isn't complete.
And Deidre's story is not complete. She is a wife, mom, entrepreneur, insurance expert, philanthropist, public speaker, and just an all-around wonderful person. Thank you so much for listening to part 2 of my interview with Deidre. You can reach out to her via Instagram. Her IG is at Unwritten by Deidre. That's Deidre. And you can get financial and insurance expertise by visiting AskTheInsuranceLady.com. I truly appreciate you joining me today. If you have not already, please subscribe to the podcast and invite a friend along for the entrepreneurial ride. You can communicate and follow me on Instagram at Stitched for Success. There you will find your daily dose of inspiration or a business tip. If you have any questions or thoughts, please direct message me via Instagram. Again, that is at Stitched for Success. Always a pleasure to have you listen in. Have a great one.